What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. Alright, this story's called Popular Retail Chain Does a Complete 180 on Their Dress Code. Necessary backstory, otherwise I look like the butthole who goes grocery shopping half an hour before they close on Christmas Eve. My workday started yesterday at 6 a.m. and ended a little after 7 p.m. The day before, I worked from 5 a.m. until sometime around 9 p.m. I don't remember off the top of my head what time or how long I worked during the days before that. It all just kind of runs together at this point. Today was my first day off in 9 days. Being off today has nothing to do with Christmas. That wasn't planned. I hadn't really thought about it being Christmas Eve until about half an hour after I got to work when I wrote the date down. I knew it was Christmas Eve, but I guess that was when it fully registered. Anyway, that made me realize that I should probably stop somewhere after work and get some food since everything will be closed tonight and tomorrow. Yes, I have food at my house, but not much, and it's mostly just random staple food. I've spent an excessive amount of time at work this year, and I've learned that it's usually just easier and cheaper to either eat from the cafeteria or do restaurant pickup from somewhere. Any other year, this really wouldn't matter because I'd spent almost all of Christmas Day off with family where there's plenty of holiday food. But time was limited, and I obviously didn't plan well. I didn't want to go to a grocery store that late on Christmas Eve, but I also really didn't want to wake up this morning and eat noodles and mustard for breakfast. So that's the backstory. In a nutshell, I've just been working a lot and Christmas sort of slipped my mind. So I leave work, drive to the nearest department store, park my car, and head toward the entrance. Literally, as I'm walking into the store, I hear someone on the intercom asking customers to please make their final selections as the store would be closing in 30 minutes. I feel like such a butthole. I spent a good second or two entertaining the idea of leaving, but I was already there and I was only grabbing a handful of items. There was no way this would take me more than 10 minutes. I grab one of those little baskets and head toward the grocery section. I hadn't been inside the building for more than 30 seconds, and suddenly, this very obviously irritated 30-something-year-old man with 3 young kids in tow steps in front of me and yells, "Excuse me!" Obviously, this took me by surprise. I was on a mission and hadn't planned for anything confrontational. I, being the quiet, kinda shyish introvert that I am, didn't really know how to respond, so I just stood there. I'm pretty sure my lack of a response made the guy even more angry, and he proceeds to yell at me again, this time asking, "Does this place not have a bathroom for my kid to use?" I am so confused, because at that point, it hasn't occurred to me that he might think I'm an employee, because, well, why would he? I'm carrying an empty shopping basket and I'm wearing freaking scrubs. Now, I'm a super laid-back person. It's not very often that people legitimately yell at me out of personal anger, so when that does happen, I have this tendency to throw all common sense out the window and either totally freeze or devolve into a toddler that's just starting to form 3-word sentences. So naturally, my response was a very long and drawn-out, I don't know. Maybe? I really want to emphasize how long and drawn out that first, was. So he gets louder. "You don't know?" I am so far beyond uncomfortable at this point. Not to mention hungry and tired. I just need to leave. I say something like, no, I don't know. Sorry, I don't know. And just take off walking really fast. I'm not even walking in the right direction anymore. I just need this guy to go away. I turn down the nearest random aisle to find an alternate route. I can still hear the guy cussing at me, calling me names, etc. Just a plethora of obscenities. As long as he's not following me, I don't care. That guy was a weirdo. I just want to get my stuff and leave. My unexpected detour made me realize that I really needed new socks, and there they were, right in front of me. So I grab a bag of socks, turn to head back toward the grocery part of the store, and I hear the voice of an older woman asking, "Are the dressing room's not open? I turn around and she's definitely talking to me. Is she just making random conversation with a stranger? Or does she think I work here? That's when I realized that the crazy bathroom guy with the anger issues must have thought I worked there too. But I wasn't really sure yet who this woman thought I was, so I just answered politely. I think they've been keeping the dressing rooms closed since the pandemic. I guess my use of the word they've let the woman know that I wasn't an employee. She says, "Oh, you don't work here. I'm so sorry." I told her it was fine and that she was the second person to think that tonight. It was awkward, but she was super sweet, so we just shared a quick laugh and I began walking toward the groceries again. As I'm walking, all I can think about is the fact that two different people just confused me for an employee at this department store. In addition to the scrubs, I'm also wearing a matching jacket that everyone in our department received a few days ago as a Christmas present from management. The jacket wasn't zipped, so it wasn't hiding the scrub top, but even if it was zipped up, the back of the jacket has the name of the hospital along with the logo, and it's a pretty well-known hospital. As I'm filling my basket, I'm looking around at other employees, and our clothing has absolutely zero in common. So weird. Anyway, I spent another minute or two grabbing what I need and start heading to checkout, still thinking about the old woman and the crazy bathroom guy with the anger issues. I'm about 30 feet from the checkout, and I'm looking at all the cashiers. They're all wearing khaki pants and red shirts. I'm wearing faded slate gray scrubs. I pass a middle-aged guy on my way, and he stops me and says,
"Excuse me, ma'am, may I ask you a question?"
Nothing makes any sense at this point, so I just politely respond, "You can, but I don't work here." He apologized, and I got in line, paid for my items, and left. I don't think I've ever been more confused in my life. This has to be one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced. Over the course of 10 minutes, 3 different people thought I worked there. My only logical conclusion is that everyone is just stressed around Christmas time, and they just weren't paying any attention. Still really weird though. I think it's not that they, thought that you worked for the store. It's just that, people just assume nurses are always on duty when they're in their scrubs. And nurses are always looking to help people out, they're just always there for you. And so, it's kind of like, you know how if you see a Sikh person, that turban is supposed to represent that you can go to them for help no matter where you are. If you see a turban and that turban is on a Sikh person, you're in good hands. Alright, it's kind of like that with nurses. If you see someone with scrubs, you can just tell them what to do. And they have to do it. Nurses, verify. I'm joking. Alright, this story's called I'm a Soldier, Not a Store Employee. Inspired by the US Navy sailor story, here is one of my stories. On mobile, so please excuse any weird format. For this particular story, I was actually in uniform, which makes the whole situation all the more weird. Canadian working uniform for the Army is a digital camouflage pattern called CADPAT. Pretty unique and identifiable. The store I was in wears black pants with tannish colored collared shirts. In the story, we have me, old lady, dumb lady, and store manager. I had just gotten off from work and was on my way home and stopped for groceries. Our commands lets us stop in uniform on the way home to do this. They see it as a visual recruiting tactic and let people know that we are in the community. I'm a reservist artillery soldier. As I was looking at milk trying to decide what to buy, a little old lady came up to me and asked for help. What threw me off initially was the fact that she used my rank, gunner, artillery for private. She explained that her grandson was a bombardier, artillery for corporal, in a regular force artillery regiment. She was struggling with lifting the milk bags. I decided I would help her shop and get her groceries at least into her ride for her. I spent a good 45 minutes with her, helping her shop around. The interaction with the dumb lady came as the old lady was checking out.
Now that you're done, you can get my things for me.
Sorry, ma'am, but I don't work here and I have my own shopping to do. I'm sure one of the bag boys boys or stalkers can help you out.
You clearly work here. You got all that old bad stuff for her. Now I demand you help me.
He really isn't an employee. He's just a soldier helping an old woman with some shopping.
I don't care what he says he is. He clearly knows the store, so he must work here. You're done shopping, so he can help me now.
She was getting louder now and attracting attention. Ma'am, I really don't work here. If you could lower your voice, I could help you find an employee if you really need some assistance.
Don't tell me what to do, boy!
Now a manager has shown up due to the commotion.
Good afternoon. Is there anything I can help you out with?
Yes, this boy is refusing to help me after he helped some other customer. This is terrible customer service and he should be fired.
He clearly doesn't work here. He's a gunner in the Canadian Armed Forces. He's wearing a military uniform and everything.
He definitely doesn't work here. We don't have any soldiers that work in the store. Even reservists, which I assume he is.
You all have terrible customer service. Haven't you ever heard of the customer is always right? I'm calling corporate. I will never shop here again.
That is perfectly fine. The door is right this way.
He then escorted the dumb lady outside, with her yelling the whole way.
Well, that's enough excitement for this old woman. Hopefully the rest of your day is much more peaceful. I'll have my son come pick me up. Go do your shopping and thanks for helping me.
Anytime, ma'am. And tell your grandson thanks from Gunner OP with the redacted regiment. I then went and finished my shopping and wanted to get the hell out of there. The store manager was waiting for me at the front and opened a register for me to check out. He gave the store employee discount too, saying,
You clearly work here after all.
with an accompanying wink and laugh. He then told me he was a reservist while going through university and thanked me for what I did. That was pretty cool of you, OP, to help that lady out, and also pretty cool of you to not smash the other lady's face in. Obviously, don't just assault people for being jerks. I wish it was that easy, then there'd be less jerks. Or just more jerks, because I think acting like a jerk is being less of a jerk than just hitting someone. So, difficult world we live in. Alright, this story's called The Confused, the Karen, and the Mama Bear. Okay, so I, 21 female, was shopping out with my mom, 44 female, near the start of the pandemic. I was wearing a Christmas jumper, a sparkly skirt, a blue coat, and light-up shoes and a mask. That I dig it a lot. My mom was also wearing a mask because she has to be extra careful because she suffers from asthma. Anyway, I went to get some pasta and sauce for dinner that night while my mom went to grab milk and ice cream. I grabbed some pasta and was choosing some sauce when I noticed a little girl having trouble getting some sauce and helped her out by getting the sauce she wanted and handing it to her. She thanked me and went on her way. I spotted some sauce that looked good and grabbed a couple of jars. I was about to go find my mom when someone started speaking to me. I turned around and found a man who looked like he wasn't much older than me, asking if I could help him grab something. I was caught off guard, to say the least. I am 5 feet exactly, and this guy was clearly taller than me and I had my arms full. I calmly told him that I need to give my pasta and the sauce to my mom and I'll find an employee to help. The man, who I will call Confused Man, looked very puzzled and said,
But don't you work here?
I sighed and then just left the aisle and spotted my mom, who had the milk and was getting the ice cream. I walked over to her and carefully placed the pasta and sauce into the cart and we chose the ice cream. Then we just needed some bread and fruit. I went to grab the fruit while my mom grabbed the bread. While I was getting some fruit, I noticed a lady staring at me and felt very creeped out, but decided to just grab the bananas and the berries and go back to my mom. But then I was just about to go back to my mom with the bananas and the other fruit when the lady bumped into me with her cart, hitting the back of my legs. I stepped to the side thinking I was just in her way, but then she said,
After you finish helping that lady with her shopping, I want you to help me with mine. It's nice to see an employee who knows their place.
I felt shocked by this lady, Karen, and her attitude, and while I wanted to yell at this Karen, I don't want to make a scene because my mom was there. So I just said nothing and started to walk back to my mom when the Karen realized that I had dared to not worship the ground that she walks on, and she started started following me, hitting me with her cart, which hurt. She kept demanding that I pay attention to her. Some people looked like they wanted to step in, but then,
What are you doing?
my mom had come to where the fruit was because I had been taken a while. The Karen, somehow not realizing that she was talking to my mom, who I bear a striking resemblance to, and smiled smugly at me and said,
I was just trying to teach this rude employee a lesson because she wasn't listening to me.
My mom death glared at the Karen and cold but calmly stated,
That is not an employee. That is my daughter, and I would prefer if you would stay away from her.
The Karen looked super surprised that my mom wasn't agreeing and tried to argue with her, but my mom just shot her a look that would have killed her 5 times over if it could, and the Karen promptly shut up. My mom pulled me away from the Karen and we paid for the groceries and then left while the Karen was complaining about us. Edit. We didn't think to call the cops because we just wanted to pay for our stuff and leave. My mom has 12 kids, all from the same dad, and is very protective of us. My parents are divorced. Edit 2. The only reason why my mom didn't attack the Karen was because we were in public and she didn't want to risk getting kicked out. Good job keeping your cool OP. A lot of people need to learn that skill. And OP's mom, good on you for sticking up for her and all that jazz. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.